Match week 38 in the books. We're going to be putting a bow on what was the last match day of the season. Some notable games, including Leeds losing 4-1, Leicester winning, but Everton prevailing and staying up. Elsewhere, we had Brentford completing a double over Man City and a 8-goal thriller to see Southampton go out of the Premier League. All that and everything in between on the final match day. This is the Premiership Perusal podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs, and the ball in behind Damian Vardy! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. The last match week of the season. 2022-2023 season in the books.
In the books.
One final match week to rule them all.
The match week is in the books.
Not a whole lot to play for at the top of the table, but we got some relegation fixtures, some mid-table fixtures, some snoozers, some wowzers, everything in between.
We'll start off with Arsenal. They were goated.
Arsenal, just as Hank predicted.
I think I did call 5-0. I called 5-0 or 4-0.
I think it was 4-0.
Yeah.
But
this was a very Arsenal have nothing to play for. They'll relax. Wolves, what did they have anything to show up for? I just had a good feeling.
Yeah, this was absolutely the annual Arsenal feel-good. Nothing's on the line.
Normally it's
last
like
game of the season.
Well, I shouldn't say normally, but of recent years, it's when they're in like 5th or 6th or 7th, and then it's like, okay, really? Or a couple years ago when they were finishing the whole season strong, and then you're like, okay, well, that doesn't mean anything, and then they actually carried it into the next year. But maybe now this matters, and they'll be able to carry it into next season. Maybe.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say no.
All I know is that Granit Xhaka, and is it his final game? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Gets a brace to start off. Was the first one the cutback pass to him from Jesus?
Yes.
I don't remember if that was.
Yes, nice cross from Jesus. Coming in from the right onto Granit Xhaka. Thumps the header in from close range.
There you go.
Easy as you like.
Yeah.
Setting the tone early.
3 minutes later.
3 minutes later,
Repeat.
Saka cutting in from the right, and Kilman has a deflection, falls right to Xhaka. Scores his brace 3 minutes apart.
He had a chance for a hattie in this one. He just couldn't get that last one in the first half.
Yeah, he sure did.
Saka, obviously, scoring the third goal, which virtually sealed it at that moment in time if it wasn't already sealed.
Yeah.
Again, that's not a great look for him to kind of just completely collapse at the end of the year and then pop up when the season's over.
It's
not great.
It's so Arsenal. Like Arsenal is a circle.
No.
And we come full circle every season. Last game of the season, you get this feel good performance. You put the game away early. The fans are feeling great. It's a beautiful day out. It's sunny. The sun is shining. You're playing Wolves, who are god awful.
Yeah.
Does this say anything about Wolves? So the trajectory they're headed.
No, I don't think it
there
does.
There could be some.
I think
murky waters.
It could.
Ahead.
Yes, they're. I've thought about it. And we'll get to your top 5 list. I'm gonna drop it on you, and you can think about it throughout the podcast. But they're definitely top 3 for me for most intriguing team in the summer. So when I say no, what I mean is it's not guaranteed that it's going to be like all downhill from here because it could bounce back up, but it definitely could go downhill from here. I mean, this This year, there's a lot of uncertainty. You don't know if Lopetegui will be back. You looked good at home. I wouldn't say you looked awful on the road, minus this one, but you didn't look great on the road, to say the least. Second half, Jesus and Kivior add to the tally.
Kivior boosting Hank
Yes,
to the Fantasy
he won
Premier
me.
League
He won me the
title.
title.
Yep, the bench
that had to be
boost
bitter.
Kivior.
That had to be bittersweet for you.
Oh, I was fuming. Hank bench boost. He gets a 13 out of Kivior and a 13 out of someone else. I forget who.
Pedro Porro.
Pedro Porro, the bastards. I mean, for Kivior to score his first goal.
What are the odds?
I mean, come on.
I put him in because he was four million quid, or £4, whatever you want to count as.
That is an absolute bargain buy.
Yeah, I mean, he played every game at the end of the year, and he played well.
That cost of value ratio there,
through
the roof. Hank,
genius.
He's gonna start his new Fantasy Premier League
genius. I should start it.
Podcast.
Emil Smith Rowe assist at the end of the game. Is this it for him at Arsenal?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there was a report that said
Villa.
They have no intentions of letting him go, and he's in the plans for next season. I think this season was tough. He had a pretty tough injury.
It was a mix of that, but
surgery.
Odegaard was killing it too, and I don't know if Arteta's going to want to play them both, and who knows. Depends how they want to line up. Finishes 5-0. Wasn't much to take away from this one. Oh, he didn't mention Jorginho getting drilled in the face to end the game. That was pretty good.
R.I.P. George.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily says that much about Wolves. From a performance standpoint, I think maybe it's just kind of a foreshadowing into the future of Wolves.
Perhaps. Well, they don't have Adama Traore. This was his final game. He's now a free agent.
Who signs him?
You think he stays in the Premier League? I could see him bouncing to like a team in like kind of the upper portion of France or Spain.
Yeah.
I could see him at like Sevilla or like a Lyon or Marseille or something like that.
Yeah, I could
if he
see
stayed,
that.
if you made me pick a team that he stays with in the Premier League,
maybe one of the newly promoted teams pick him up.
Oh, you think so? I was thinking like a depending. I wouldn't do this if I were them, but given how the signings they've been making lately, that just make no sense. I think West Ham could be an option.
West Ham. Forest
is another team. Yep, they love a player.
And they're getting rid of some.
We'll get to their game, but did you hear that chant that they had going during the game?
No.
It was to the Waka Waka 2010 World Cup song.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, Waka Waka, eh. And then it was 30 signings, who gives a fuck, Forest are staying up. It was class.
Oh, lads.
Let's get to the next game.
Next game.
Aston Villa versus Brighton. This was a must-win for Villa, not for Brighton. Brighton already locked up their Europa League spot. Villa need it for the 7th spot.
Yeah. I mean,
and you could tell
that
the way you're playing.
for Brighton with the lineup. Throwing out Yassine Ayari and Buonanotte and Ciso, Undav, all those guys, even though some of them...
Undav starts, bro. Undav starts. Give him that. Yeah, they sat Billy Gilmore, their best player. Proper Chelsea.
Yes, proper Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, from the off, Villa kind of were just pouncing early. Like, even the first minute, Brighton got pressed so hard they just had to play it out of bounds for
And if I recall correctly, I think I predicted 2-0 with both goals in the first 15.
Yeah, you almost had it.
I was close.
You got undaved.
26 minutes.
Not the first time you've been undaved.
Yes, exactly.
Leon Bailey hitting the bar at about the 4th minute. And that this was the Jacob Ramsey game, if I've ever seen one.
Mm-hmm.
Cut back pass to Doug Lewis, who won Villa's Player of the Year. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
I guess it's somewhat fitting. You could make a case for a couple guys, but I don't mind that. I just think it's funny that he wins and we're supposed to believe Emi Martinez is the best goalkeeper in the world.
Yeah, it's interesting how he was kind of out of the team for a while and then
Well, it's really not because Stevie G, the whole implementation of that man,
Yeah, that's
he
true.
doesn't really function like a normal person. We're leaving you out of the team.
Whatever I do, you should probably do the opposite.
But on the cutback pass, just way too much space that Brighton allow.
Yeah.
Brighton almost respond instantly as Ferguson is played through by McAllister, and he skies it. And then Aston Villa get a tap-in, little counterattack. Brighton just a half step behind the whole time, kind of caught out, leads into Ollie Watkins tap-in. Finishes the year at 20 goals, or not 20 goals. He was shy of that. It was, what was he at, 15 or 16? That was close, Sam. It's still a career year for Ollie Watkins. At least I had that down.
And imagine if he played the first half of the season.
Stevie G should be in prison for
Lock
the
him
things
up.
he did. And then get the same deja vu. Brighton able to get Ferguson in behind again, but this time rolls it just wide. And then right before the end of the first half, Brighton score after VAR review. It's Undav. Dennis Undav.
Yeah, a little questionable defense there. Letting
Yeah.
Undav get behind you.
It was very much... I mean, it was a really close one.
Yeah.
Originally, obviously, they didn't call it and then had to go back and review it. But it goes in halftime 2-1. Second half, Brighton looked a lot better early on, but then as the game goes on, Villa kind of establish themselves in the game and really make it their own game. Ramsey probably had the best chance the second half as he skied a tap-in, which is probably the low light of the game, but he played amazing otherwise.
Yeah, that was insane.
He also had a pass that's just out of the reach of Ollie Watkins, which would have been a third goal on the day for Villa. Villa seal it with John McGinn in the corner, kind of running the clock down. Europa Conference League football for Villa. Good to see Villa in a European competition. They're a big club. They deserve it.
Unai Emery at the wheel.
Good evening.
I think, with Europe, they're going to have to bolster the
Add a
squad
little
a bit.
depth. Yeah.
But
Bring Danny Ings back from loan,
overall,
even though he's not on loan.
in a very good position.
Yeah.
Much better than where things were.
Yes.
They're looking...
They were in the relegation zone, or
Looking
1 point
rough.
above it for
Yes.
a little while this year.
They were hanging out there. Stevie G,
That's what he does to a team.
nice knowing
It's
you.
okay. Leeds are looking at him, Mr. Parker, and someone else. That was amazing.
Leeds, get out of my face. You're one of the worst run clubs I've ever seen.
Hey, come on. That guy's selling. He's
Not
buying
to-
my club, Sam.
Not to mention their fans they blame the Americans on their downfalls. It's like,
Yeah.
you guys love Pat Bamford. This guy sucks. He literally sucks. And you just, yeah, he's great. Weston McKennie is the problem. Brendan Aronson is the problem. It's like Brendan Aronson didn't even play for that much of the second half of the season. It's like you got these bums like Pat Bamford, like freaking Liam Cooper, like Junior Firpo, like Elon Melier, that are just sucking it up.
All I'll say,
Mic drop.
even with all that,
Mic drop.
if Rodrigo stays healthy, I think they finish in like 14th.
Absolutely. Rodrigo goated. The rest of the team, not so much. Anyways, back to Villa, Brighton. Caps off. Good seasons for both sides. Brighton in the Europa League.
There you go. Speaking of adding depth, they're going to have to pull some of those Latin American fellows out of their behinds.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if they keep doing that or if they... I mean, it looks like they've kind of transitioned towards more...
Established guys. I mean, they're going to
Established
get
guys.
Mo Dahoud from Dortmund. He
And
kind
João
of fell out of
Pedro
yeah,
from Watford, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. Making moves.
interesting. Next match, I don't even know. It was at Man City.
Man City versus Brentford.
Tell
This
you
was
what.
a game.
It was a game. Man City with the heavily rotated side.
Yes.
The classic Phil Foden in midfield special. That was nice.
Yeah, get in Cole Palmer.
Yes.
Get in your guy Sergio Gomez.
There you go. A big Sergio Gomez guy here. Yeah, they even put that other guy on halfway through the game. Like 62 or whatever. Shea Charles.
Oh, Shea Charles. Yeah,
Yeah.
this game was it was a game.
Yeah, Palmer had a chance early. Man City weren't taking it easy. It's just obviously completely huge drop off in quality. No surprise as you're talking about a treble winning team versus some young players and some reserve guys at the moment. Wisa hitting the post, but he was offside. A lot of the chances in this game were for Brentford. Held a good chunk of the ball, given the fact Man City tend to always have the ball. But, 34% is not a ton in the grand scheme of things. But, hey, sometimes Man City dominate guys even more than that.
Yeah, I mean, City had a lot of possession, but it didn't look very good by any means. You could tell it was a rotated side. And
Yes, not as sharp.
It put this hot take in my mind.
Oh, that Pep Guardiola, if he didn't have amazing players, wouldn't be very good. Is that a hot take?
Exactly. It's, people, the Pep Guardiola system. It's like, now he just has the best players, and it doesn't really matter what system you play.
So I think this is where we disagree, and I'm going to have to end the podcast.
Pep Guardiola's a genius, okay?
I was saying this thing about a few podcasts ago about the whole Mourinho thing, not to get off track about Premier League and Europe and whatnot, but when that guy who was going to take the Tottenham job, Arne Slot, was like, yeah, I like watching Napoli and Man City. It's like, no one watches Man City. I guarantee you no one watches Man City.
And that's the thing, though.
It's like the people who act like Spain is enjoyable to watch. It's not.
Yes.
Holding the ball and
terrible.
going just in a methodical, like, trying to wear down the other team is not
exactly.
not appealing.
Pep Guardiola takes this group of guys that are the best in the world. They spend billions of pounds on their players and somehow manages to make them look boring.
Yes. Back the game goes in the halftime 0-0. Second half, Brentford kind of piling it on. A lot of, in terms of chances, they had the best chances. I want to say that the Pinnock goal, I forget who swung it in, back post. I think it was Shada?
Yeah, Shada to Mbumo.
Yeah, Mbumo heads it back down.
Heads it across.
When he heads it across, I was like, oh, why didn't he just head it towards the net? And then Pinnock is like wide open lane to run into and just blast it.
Very much a well-worked routine.
Yes. And then the Cole Palmer chances at the end, just spamming the ball. They would go in the net because Raya wouldn't get them. It's unfortunate that Brentford just had like 3 guys on the line where he shot the ball.
Yes.
Every time.
Yes, indeed.
Is there anything else you want to talk about in this game?
Well, Brentford did the double over City.
Yeah, there you go. They're helping out your cause.
More like 1.5 over City because this...
Hey, come on.
Shouldn't really count as a full one. But you know what? Respect to you, Brentford, for taking down this team that I so dearly hate.
Yeah.
And exposing Pep Guardiola as a fraud.
Pretty much.
Thank you. That's my thesis.
There you go.
No.
Any
Speaking of teams that need to bolster their squad,
Yeah.
Brentford.
Yes.
I mean, like, I get it. They do the Moneyball thing, but
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get away with playing Shandon Baptiste
Hey, come on.
for 20 games a season.
Yeah,
when you're in Europe.
well, you have to remember a lot of their investments that they've made of recent have been kind of younger guys, even though they've put a decent amount of money into them. Keane Lewis Potter, Damsgaard, Shada, Hickey. There's some young guys in there. I think they might be best served if they grabbed a championship guy or two, or a guy off a relegation team.
For sure.
And then keep plugging away with
not to
putting
mention
guys from Europe.
They won't have Ivan Toney for a good chunk of the season.
Well, Sam, you were just telling me that Brian Mbumo's goated back.
He's been a man on fire.
Yeah. What they'll need is Shada to step up in the Mbumo role of kind of being the guy who's off the ball or on the ball, kind of supplying a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And Mbumo to be the Toney role of kind of goal scorer.
Yeah.
That's how they're closing the year. Let's go to a team who couldn't even score a goal. They had to force an own goal. I'm talking about Chelsea.
Chelsea
3-0.
Good meal.
3-0.
At the bridge, Charity FC once again strikes back.
Yes. Their defense has been so bad these last few games. And the organization on this first goal.
It was insane. How can you call this a professional team?
It's really not.
Like, where is the defense?
Mr. Trevo Chalobah was not in communication with Thiago Silva, and Thiago Silva had no care in the world to be anywhere near Anthony Gordon.
No one should be that wide open.
When you're Anthony Gordon, you're just that good. And he said, "Hey, don't you guys regret not paying $40 million for me?" And Chelsea say, "No,
Yes.
no, we don't."
8-year contract.
Yes.
Better than Mudryk.
How about Elliot Anderson on the assist right there?
Goated.
Yes.
Chelsea.
Newcastle are the team that fall asleep though.
Yes.
On a set piece, so free kick action, Chelsea forced no goal. Sterling, nice little cutback, shoots it. It's going to be not way off target, but off target, deflects off Trippier, and he kind of bobbles the ball into his own net.
Yeah, he handballed it in.
Yeah, brutal.
Sterling. What a
Sterling.
game. Good meal.
Raheem Sterling. We'll get to his
He's
second half
looking
performance. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, he had another big chance early in the first half that was slapped away by Dubravka, and then the rebound went right to him and it's cleared off the line.
Yeah.
I like my guys to shoot not at the guys who are on the line when there's one defender left.
You know what? Sterling's out here. He's earning his paycheck.
He's creating chances, I suppose.
Yeah.
Goes in halftime, 1-1, second half. The teams just really want this game over, big time. I think what was sad for Chelsea about this game is taking guys like Ruben Loftus-Cheek off and having to give them a
Standing ovation for Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Oh, my gosh.
That's Chelsea Football Club for you.
Yep.
And Hank was standing right there with you. He was
I had a
looking
tear
at
in
the
my
TV
eye.
And he's like,
Proper Joes. Proper Joes. That was a good Nani game. That Madueke, when he was on the ball, looked good.
yeah.
It seems like him and Mudryk rotate who has a good game. Dan,
Mudryk, I don't think I've ever seen Mudryk have a good game.
you're a liar. You saw him cook Liverpool.
I saw him
You saw him
miss a
cook
chance
Liverpool.
from 5 yards out last game.
Yes. Dan Burn, cheeky handball, somehow not called.
Yeah.
Lewis Miley, whoever that guy is.
Louis
some young
Miley
guy.
Cyrus.
Yeah.
He's like 17 years old.
Yeah. Just right off the crossbar as it falls to him. You know what's funny is that ball always goes in against Chelsea this year.
I wish it would have.
Well, it
That
didn't
would have
because
been peak Charity FC, letting a 17-year-old
Lewis
score.
Miley. Yeah, Wade Miley's son.
And then he could have said, it's the climb.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of Charity FC, Christian Pulisic stealing a living.
Oh,
Has an
hey.
open chance. Man, this guy is...
Hey, he's our number 10. He's the number 10 out
Hey.
here. You get the number 10 because you don't score goals or assists.
Someone take out the trash because it's getting stinky.
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of stinky, João Felix.
Also, trash. Chelsea,
Huge free kick
trash.
chance.
Good
Skies it.
meal.
Header goes high.
What a wonderful...
Chelsea could genuinely have could have won 4-1 or something.
Oh,
and that's been
absolutely.
honestly, that's been the story of the year.
Wow, okay. Chelsea Cope over here. I just thought it was a great send-off for João Felix.
Chelsea Cope, are you talking about the second best defense in the league?
Yeah. Okay, well...
Better than Arsenal's defense in terms of goals
okay,
allowed?
Defense.
Yeah.
Now let's see the offense. Second worst.
That's what I'm saying. It's fallen on their offense this year.
That's what I'm saying. If they just scored,
Yeah.
they'd
That's
be
what I
good.
just said. You said that that's
But
not true.
They can't score. They suck.
Well, yeah, obviously. Could have told you that.
You're
I could've
acting
told you
like
that.
the expected goals would put them in Champions League qualifications.
No, but they would have been around 7th or 8th.
Yeah, okay.
They still stink, but
Okay.
they would a couple
Take
more
off
goals.
your João Felix.
Couple goals. Oh,
and
my João Felix kid is always
Mudryk
on.
half kit
Yes, it's always on.
and comb your middle part. and
How do you
butterfly
feel about
tattoos.
this Chelsea transition? Kai Havertz leaving,
Well,
Aubameyang
if
leaving.
you're selling Kai Havertz to Bayern
No, it's Real Madrid now.
or to Real Madrid, that's right. Charity FC is now becoming the reverse charity where they steal money.
Yeah, they're
Thieving FC.
Chalobah to Inter Milan, apparently. Loftus-Cheek to AC Milan We have Kai
Disgusting.
Havertz to Real Madrid. Mason Mount is going to go for like 50 to 60 mil to Man U.
It's back like when Chelsea was milking the China train and
Yes.
sending guys off for like 70 mil.
Yes.
They're like, yeah, Oscar, 90
He
mil
was
to
goated.
China.
Yep,
It's like,
that's what we like.
how are we allowing this?
Kovacic is going to go for
that's
30
illegal.
to 35 mil
Yeah,
to Man City.
Disgusting.
Pulisic will probably go for like 25 mil to Italy or something.
Well, Todd Bowley.
Hakeem Ziyech for 10 or 15 to apparently Dortmund.
Todd Bowley's looking at the menu, and he's not looking at prices. He's got a hole in his pocket. He's ready to spend.
Good meal.
Good meal.
I'm
gonna be
getting the
cooking.
half kit of Aguarte and then Caicedo. Get the double kit.
I'm getting the Todd Bowley #1 special one.
We should get those. I should get like Todd on the back and it's a number and then you get Bowley in it.
Yeah.
There it is. We didn't even talk about Newcastle. I mean, they had a rotated squad in this one. Not fully rotated. They had a good amount of guys still in there, but amazing season for Newcastle.
Crazy.
I think we had them Europa League for sure before the year. I think 5th or 6th. I forget.
And, considering the downfall of some of the bigger clubs, I think that's a pretty spot-on analysis. But, it's been pretty incredible to see the transformation, and especially because they didn't just clear house. A lot of these guys were on the team when they sucked. And Eddie Howe is just absolutely
Maxime,
transformed. But, hey, Pep Guardiola, manager of the season.
Yeah.
Fraudulent. It's fraudulent.
Sam's really, really riled up. He's here to tell you Chelsea suck no matter what. He's here to tell you Pep Guardiola sucks no matter what.
I'm going to start a Premier League conspiracy podcast where I just go unhinged for like 10 hours a week. And
There
it's
you
just
go.
like a daily episode of unhinged rants.
Well, let's
Oh,
get
you see the thing about West Ham is that actually the stadium deal was fraudulent, and
There you go.
David Moyes is a lizard man.
That'd be pretty cool. You know what's pretty cool is Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest.
You know what?
And you know what's cool is Awani is the best striker in the whole fucking world.
This guy.
Who's this guy?
He's the new Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, what is this? He's the Nigerian Watkins.
You can't tell me that you've seen Ollie Watkins and Awani at the same place because it's
Nope.
the same guy. Oh, Windows update.
Oh, we don't need Windows Update.
Windows update.
Um,
They heard. They're listening.
Yeah.
They know I'm speaking the truth. They're trying to.
There's a lot of Palace in this one early on,
Shut me down.
creating a good amount of chances. But really, Forrest out of nothing grabbed that goal at the counterattack on Awani.
Yeah. Great ball from Gibbs White.
Yeah, he's really finding his form to end the year. That'll be interesting to watch, see what he can carry into next year. But Wani, with the patience, a little dangle, send Sam Johnstone flying. And Wayne Hennessy revenge game was on. He's like, I'm going clean sheet. I'm going with the dub. It's
Yes.
over.
Absolutely. Goes into halftime. 1-0. Force. Second half, 66 minutes in. Olise crosses to Will Hughes at the near post. Deflects his header in on goal.
Yeah.
Will Hughes out here, ladies and gentlemen. Goal scoring Will Hughes. That was a fine header, if I
Truly.
do say so myself. Also, shout out James MacArthur. Send-off game. Proper
Shout out Willie
Palace
Bully playing in this one.
legend. Lord Willie Bowler.
There's a lot of trash out on the field in this game.
Not to mention the IU bros taking the field at the same time in a
How-
Premier League match. How is this
in
possible?
2023. It
In
shouldn't be allowed.
2023.
I saw Forster going to let a lot of guys walk, and he was one of them. I was like, how could you? How could you let Andre Ayew leave?
Including Jesse Lingard, whom I predicted would be an absolute flop, and they would be not playing him by like 4 weeks in, and that's about what happened. So I'm a genius.
A little J-Lings action here.
Jay Lings.
Can't really do it because the mic's in the way.
Apparently he was instrumental in helping Gibbs White and Brennan Johnson.
Yep, 100%.
According to the Copers of
You know what's
Nottingham
crazy
Forest
is
fans.
my guy Yaro Riedewald got in there in this one too.
That guy's nuts.
Finishes 1-1. A season that was very odd for both. It looked like it was about to go tits up a couple times for both of them, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah, Palace
I think a more impressive season by Forest. I think,
yeah.
I think we had them going down. If not, I had them in like 17th. You were all out on them.
Yeah, I was like, they're going to be historically bad.
And it
then
looked
they
like
bought
that.
like 30 guys.
Nah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like I get an asterisk on my prediction.
Sure.
I mean, they were almost historically bad.
Well, they had 6 points on the road this year.
Yeah.
We haven't seen things that bad since, I think, Burnley that 1 year. Moving on, one of the big ones of the day that actually mattered, Bournemouth, Everton.
Yeah, one of the 3 games.
Tell you what, Bournemouth gave a little more effort than I thought they would, but they still, they definitely didn't have the juice, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Everton getting out on the front foot, start the game. A couple early chances. Demarai Gray had a chance, ends up high and wide of the goal. Then some good chances for Idrissa Gana Gueye.
What was his name?
Idrissa Gana Gueye.
Okay.
Mark Travers getting the saves.
Yeah, we'd like to see Mark Travers out there.
Tipping it over, parries it away. Senesi almost created a chance, rolled it across goal, but no one there. No one home at the back post to tap it in. Just before halftime. Big chance for Dom Solanke, but Hank's guy, Yerry Mina, makes a vital block.
Oh my
that
gosh,
guy's
he's
showing
so
up
good.
for the end of the season for some reason. And just before halftime, chaos ensues in the Bournemouth box. Garner has a chance, tipped away by Travers. Scoreline remains 0-0 going into halftime. Second half, Everton get the action going. Gray has a chance, saved nicely. Point-blank header. And then Doucouré absolutely
You called it.
smashing a volley.
You called it.
I am a genius. Thank you very much.
Neto couldn't even react. There's no hope. There's like
mean
one or two
Travers?
guys in the way. Yeah, no, I'm out to lunch.
Out
I'm
to
used
lunch. Charity FC. Good meal.
I'm used to Neto, the guy who triggers Sam.
I feel you. I put Pope in my notes when it was Dubravka.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't do these things to us, putting these rotations in here.
Yeah. Absolute crisp volley. What a feeling. Doucouré just smashing it home.
You know what? Letting Everton stay up, I don't like Mark Travers anymore now. I'm full Bazunu guy.
How did he not save it?
I'm full Bazunu and Kelleher. You know,
Yes.
I think, is Kelleher North Ireland or is he Ireland?
I think he's Ireland.
Okay.
Yes, I'm full Kelleher too. Big chance for Kiefer Moore, free header,
Yeah, Bournemouth had a few chances at the very end.
saved, and then a nice volley from Vigna, but straight at Pickford. Everton win.
If that's against
1-0.
Chelsea, that's in. That's all I'll say.
Everton win 1-0.
With the most
And-
grinded out fashion ever.
They save themselves. It was in their hands.
They earned Sean Dyche an extra £3 million. Big ups to Everton.
That's a good meal.
For staying up. Yes.
See you at the Royal Dyche.
Wonder what Sean Dyche spends £3 million on.
Gravel. Worms.
And he eats it.
Everton, they did it. They squeaked by the skin of their teeth.
Congratulations. If they're still on track for full Sunderland, where all that means is one of these years they're relegated by like match day 28 and they finish with a maximum of like 22 points.
And I believe, I don't know, was this the last game at Goodison, or is their new stadium
I think it takes a while. I think it's going to take a little
like
bit.
halfway through the
Yeah.
season or something?
They might have to do the Fulham Craven Cottage where it's like half construction site, half stadium,
Yeah.
like a few years back.
That'll be exciting to see the new stadium, although Goodison, a classic place.
Yeah. They're going to lose their heart and soul, and then they're going to go down and they'll laugh.
Oh, they'll pull a Tottenham and just
They'll be like the opposite of
dead.
Tottenham, though. The way they actually go down. Tottenham will never go down, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tottenham, they played Leeds, who are going down, whether Everton won or not. My immediate thought, and we love Big Sam. We're Big Sam lads.
Absolutely.
When your Premier League life is on the line, Sam, gun to your head, and you pick Adam Forshaw to play for you.
Yeah, this lineup was a little rough. It was rough. I didn't get the Forshaw. You're going out there with the back five, which is interesting
Yeah.
when you need to score
Attack.
some goals.
Well, you have Rodrigo out there, so either he's scoring or he's not.
Yeah, and then so you got the back five, and then you got Forshaw and Robin Koch and Weston McKennie. You have two attacking players.
Yep, Harrison and Rodrigo.
Harrison and Rodrigo. Have fun.
Yep.
Have fun.
The only problem with their strat was they held the ball a little too much. They had more possession than Tottenham, which, by the way, Tottenham should get a points reduction for that.
Yes.
That's the most shameless.
That is shameless.
It keeps getting lower and lower for Tottenham. Getting outpossessed by Leeds.
Yeah, playing on the
Leeds.
counterattack to Leeds, who have like 7 defenders playing.
That's like,
That is shameless.
that's just brutal. That's like,
Daniel Levy, someone lock this man up.
that's like you might as well be trying your hardest against like a 7-year-old at something
Yeah.
and then flex when you beat him at it.
Yeah, parking the bus against the 7-year-old.
Yeah, not cool.
Harry Kane, 2 minutes in.
Harry Kane, when there's fuck all to play for, might be the greatest of all time.
Harry Kane, great season. He didn't have his usual injury spell,
Yeah.
so he scored a ton of goals, but he was
Imagine if they didn't have
overshadowed
Kane this
by
year.
Holland. If they didn't have Kane,
They
they'd
finished
be
like 14th, 15th.
They'd be Chelsea.
They'd be lower in Chelsea.
They'd be having a good meal.
If they didn't even catch breaks like the game against Chelsea early this year where they could pull hair in the box,
That's true.
Tottenham, lucky. Yet here they are outside of Europe. Brutal. Koch had a header go wide. Great ball by Rodrigo. Why is Rodrigo crossing it out in the box? The
Yeah.
world may never know.
Rodrigo
Sam-
needs to be
Big
scoring
Sam
those.
thinks. Leeds just fouling the shit out of Tottenham, which I thought was great. I had a note here that said Leeds constantly in attack, and then in all caps, Ryan Mason Spurs.
Absolutely. He's ready for the job.
I agree. Leeds just relying on long throw-ins and like swinging and crosses.
It was hard to watch.
Yeah. Goes to halftime, 1-0. Second half, Kane plays through to Pedro Porro, and Pedro Porro blasts it for the 2-0 lead. Feels like it all but sends Leeds down.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Luke Ayling, good chance, but absolutely fluffs it. Then Jack Harrison, one of the two half-decent players on Leeds, gets a goal, pulls it back 1-2. And then Leeds had one guy back, Sam. They literally had one guy back.
Yeah, didn't last very long. 2 minutes.
And then the Tottenham counterattack, Porro to Kane to make it 3-1. And then just to top it off, this might be the worst part for Leeds fans. I don't know any Leeds fans in my life, but this I would imagine was terrible. They just like let Lucas Moura run through the middle of the field like wide open and score like a tap in for his like Tottenham career ender.
Yeah.
That
very
was
strange.
That was the most insane. That was like make a wish.
Yeah, that's like when they have the kid on and then
They let him run.
they
at
just
the very
let him
end.
run to the end of the field and
Yeah.
kick the ball. It's like, yeah, okay.
Lucas Moura. Very nice.
All right. Yeah, Leeds going out in
Sad fashion.
very sad fashion. Get Sam on a real club.
Hey, he got a result. He got one draw against Newcastle. That's pretty
Absolutely.
damn good. Better than Gracia could have done.
True.
Spaniard bastard.
Fraud.
Moving on to the last relegation game that mattered on the day but did not matter.
This one
in the end
made
of
me
it.
sad.
It did. It got really hyped at the King Power, man.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I was hoping they could kind of carry it, the momentum. They had a couple. West Ham looked off from the get-go. that we figured. We talked about it. I suppose that's what happens when you roll Flynn Downs out there.
Yeah, and you could definitely tell there was some nervous energy out of the Leicester players.
Yeah,
There's
they were going way too hard for the goal.
Yeah, they were creating chances, and then they just get to the finish, and they just smash it.
First one was
way
the
high.
Iheanacho over the bar.
Yeah.
And then Dewsbury Hall had one or two. But they do get the goal right before half. Harvey Bonds, a little give and go with Iheanacho, slots it.
Vintage Harvey
Sam,
Barnes.
I
one
tried
last
to
time.
tell you. I tried to tell you.
Run it back one last time.
Harvey
Vintage Harvey Barnes.
Man. He was going to pop off to keep him up. He popped off, but he didn't keep him up.
Gosh, it's like the sad song at the end of the movie. It's like it makes you smile, but it cry at the same time.
Yeah. Goes in halftime 1-0. Second half, West Ham come out, look a lot better. Benrahma goes off the post. And then Leicester followed up by adding to their lead. It's Wout Faes. He scores on the other team's goal, which is a good thing. Danny Ings skies a chance. And then Danny Ings, a little turnover by Leicester. Ball falls to Ings, and he plays Fornals through to make it 2-1. A little shaky, squeaky bum time for Leicester, but they hold on for the 2-1 win. Their game finished before Everton, so they had to watch. They had to watch. All they could do is hope Bournemouth could score.
Yeah. They had to hope. Unfortunately, came down to it. They didn't. But hey, they got to end off on a high note. The end of a golden era of
Wow.
Leicester Football Club. It's
8
been a
years.
magical run. Unfortunately, just didn't work out. It was really sad to see Jamie Vardy sitting on the bench there, and tough to see him go down. That's a proper football club, unlike Manchester City. Heart, soul, passion, fans.
It just came down to they never could replace Vardy.
They never could
If we're
replace
gonna-
Vardy.
Yeah.
They waited
we
too
talked
long
about
on
it
the defense.
We talked about it for years. It's like this is like a ticking time bomb. They gotta get someone. Iheanacho had it clicking with Vardy, but by himself was never really the guy.
Yeah.
Daka's never been the guy.
No.
They could just never find one, and after that, the goal scoring kind of dried up a little bit, but still this year they had plenty of goals. It just became the defense was actually so awful. There was nothing you could do.
Especially once James Madison's form kind of fell off. It was like, at that point,
You know what
you're
I
screwed.
didn't feel good about it really is when James Madison like started freaking out on like the media and the fans and stuff.
That is where it all went
And then
wrong.
the fans were like, "Oh, fuck this guy. I don't like this guy."
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Yeah, it's never a good sign. Leicester, we'll smell you later. Chance they bounce back up.
I hope they do.
Sure you do.
Proper football club.
Sure
proper football
you
heritage.
do.
Unlike Manchester City, fraudulent club. Corporate entity, soulless.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yeah. Never forget the Leicester City tapes. That's all I'll say.
Never
They need
forget.
they'll need to
Run it
remake
back.
those to bring back the juju.
Yeah.
Man U and Fulham. This wasn't a half bad game. It wasn't great, but it wasn't too bad.
The return.
Yeah, Alex
Mitrovic.
Mitrovic for his revenge.
And he did not get that revenge.
No,
to
he
say the
he
least.
absolutely pooped in his pants when he could have. He did the opposite of gain revenge. He made it even worse.
Yeah. A couple early chances on for United. First, Dello has a cross stopped by Berlino, and then Rashford from the free kick, also saved by Leno. But Fulham opened the scoring. Kenny Tete scoring at the near post from a corner. Hello,
Yeah.
Mr. Tete. Get in, son. Fulham had a big chance here. Tom Kearney gets in the box, gets his leg swept out by Player of the Year, Casemiro, which remind me to come back because I got a rant to go on for that.
Bruno Casemiro
Gives away the penalty. Mitrovic steps up, takes the penalty. David De Gea gets down and makes the save. That's 4 penalties this season Mitrovic has either saved or missed.
Get him off.
That's a new record.
Get him off the team.
Give the penalties to someone else, please. And then the tide shifted to United.
The tide shifted now.
The tides had done shifted. Rashford had a chance from outside the box, and then Hank's guy Garnacho with some quick link-up play.
Earlier I said I've never met a Leeds fan. I've never met anyone that likes that guy.
No, me neither. His chance goes wide. But United get the equalizer when Bruno finds Fred, makes a run into the box, lays it off to Jadon Sancho. Agent 007 puts it home.
There you go.
Wow.
He's
Jadon
a legend.
Sancho.
He's coming back. He might be
Next
the
season.
English Pepe.
Next season.
Finishes the year strong,
Yes.
starts popping off towards the end, and then he disappears. And like, where'd he go?
Just before halftime, a bit of a half shout for a penalty as Rashford goes down in the box. Nothing given. He didn't make much of a complaint. Goes in halftime. 1-1. Second half. Big chance right off the bat. Rashford receives the ball over the top, but he puts the chance wide.
Mm-hmm.
Golden opportunity there.
Yeah, that's Rashford out of form for you. Like I called.
And then 51st minute, João Palhinha getting away with a nice red card worthy tackle
That was
on
pretty
Malacia.
good. That was pretty nice. He got his money's worth.
Going for the revenge attempt, and the ball was gone for like 10 seconds, and
Yes.
then he's like, I'm just going to go like 2-footed. They're like, okay, yeah, here's your 14th yellow card of the
Yeah.
season. Oh, man. 5 minutes later, United take the lead. Fred threads a through ball to Bruno Fernandes, dinks it over. Bruno Leno. Crispy.
Bruno playing hard when there's nothing to play for.
Yes.
What a guy.
Fred and Bruno linking up for possibly the last time.
Nope. I don't see Fred leaving anytime
Life
soon.
contract for Fred. A couple chances for Mr. Kearney.
Where's Fred go if he stays in the Premier League real quick? Say it on one. I'm gonna count it down.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Tottenham.
Tottenham.
Synergy and
No.
teamwork and synergy.
No.
Brilliant. Goated. Wonderful podcast. Geniuses. They know it all. Premiership Perusal. Listen here, folks. Lots of people are talking.
Yes. Let's get back to this game. Enough about Fred. That's enough Fred.
That was an all-time moment. Put that in the compilation. A couple chances for Kearney. First blocked by McTominay in his potential last game. Sure sounds like it.
I saw that he made Newcastle on our club
Newcastle,
looking at him. I was
yeah.
like, huh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Newcastle, they like to play bully ball.
Well, if they bring in McTom, Madison, and James Ward-Prowse for, I don't know, 100 mil, is that a good window? I don't think so.
Nah, not really.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But that's probably what it
Seems like a lot of money. I mean, Madison's good, but
40 for both Madison and Ward-Prowse. That's what it's going to be. You don't think Ward-Prowse? I'm not saying I'd pay 40 for him.
who's Ward-Prowse starting over?
Murphy. Almiron. He's playing over Miguel Almiron.
He's going to play on the wing?
Yep, you're putting him up there. Is he going to be swinging balls in, or is he going to be tapping them in?
Interesting. Pep Guardiola tactics.
Yeah. Well, he's the best. Eddie Howe knows that. That's why Eddie Howe admitted he's like, Pep's the best.
Here's why
I'm a
McTominay
loser.
would fit in on Newcastle, because Newcastle should get more cards than they did.
There you go.
And McTominay is
always
the king of
escapes.
that.
Yeah, that's what the quality they like in him. They're like,
Yeah.
yes, jotting him down for later.
Exactly. To the end of the game, De Gea makes a good stop on Maynor Solomon. And then hilarious moment, one of my moments of the week here, Wout Weghorst having the tap-in chance at the back post
that
and
was
misses
great.
it. So he ends his
Goalless.
Manchester United career goalless.
He's willing to come back.
He wants to come back. He'll play for free.
I think this might be one of the, I don't know. It's one of those things because like Falcao was so good when he played and Higuain was so good when he played. that like those loan spells blowing up were hilarious.
Yes.
But this was like, Man U needed a striker.
Yes.
And they're just like, how about we loan this guy who's like, he was just at Burnley last year. He's on a relegation team.
Yeah.
You loaned him in.
From
You played him.
Besiktas.
You played him a good amount, and he just sucked.
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
don't know. They're probably equally as funny.
Finishes 2-1. So ends the season for United and Fulham. Fulham, massive season. They
Good year.
finally didn't go
Good
yo-yo.
year.
Marco Silva led them to the glory years.
You're not off my watch list right now, Fulham. That's all I'll say. I'm not fully buying in yet. You haven't seen a whole year.
I'll say this. If Tosin started the
Yeah.
full season, they'd be relegated because that guy is so bad.
Tim Ream. It took a goated 3/4 of a year out of Tim Ream to
Tim
keep
Ream
him up.
playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
And
We'll
just-
see. Time will tell.
Just absolutely nuts.
United, we pretty much covered United last week and the week before in terms of objective-wise, it was a good achievement. It's
Yeah,
just
on paper.
I just don't think that their quality is actually where people
Yeah,
deem it to be.
absolutely. They don't pass the eye test. They may have, they're in the FA Cup final. If they win that,
Yeah.
I think that would just even more solidify the fact that they are fraudulent.
Yes.
But, classic United fans just hyping them up
Doing a
endlessly.
charge.
Doing a title charge. I'm sure the hype in the summer is going to be insane.
Hilarious.
People are going to say that they're going to push
Title.
for a title.
Yep.
And
Yep.
newsflash that they're not. And
Nope.
Ten Hag will probably be gone halfway through the next season.
I think even if they finish like 5th or 6th, they'll give him another year because he at least won a trophy.
Yeah.
The other
Maybe one.
guys didn't. But still, I agree. I think they're going to flop. But time will tell. We'll see how their summer goes.
Yeah.
Last game
Last game
of the year.
Absolute meme tier game. Two
Yeah.
teams that just went
No
out
one
there
knows
for the
or cares.
lulz.
No one knows or cares.
Defending optional. Midfield
Absolutely.
optional.
Passing around your own box is not optional,
Not optional.
as it happened to both teams at times.
Yes.
Southampton comedy of errors season really in a nutshell. Trying to play out of the back, and Lavia just passed it really to no one. Jota walked into a shot, and that was hilarious. Firmino played through, and then just shoots the ball right at McCarthy after making some moves.
Yeah,
and it
after
goes between his legs.
Taking two guys out with the one dangle.
Yeah, that was nice. A little cutback. Southampton out of nowhere show life. A little James Ward-Prowse from Chuck Alcatraz.
Chuck
Good swing of the
Alcatraz
balls.
was popping this game.
He's always popped. I love this guy.
This guy-
This is why it made sense when Brighton were
sleeping.
talking about buying him. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy is very much a Brighton.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like, who's this guy?
Absolutely.
To make it 1-2, and then an equalizer from loses the ball in midfield with his back, to the play. I don't know what was even going on. Southampton spring a counter. Suleimana showing the pace, sprinting all the way through, blasting it, making it 2-2. Southampton with a strong end of the first half, goes in halftime 2-2, and then second half, Suleimana pulls a Lucas Moore and runs straight up the field. And no one stops him.
Yeah, that was
He's a
nuts.
freight
It was
train.
like a 60-yard run.
Yeah. They gave Son a goal of the year for doing that against Burnley. I'm just kidding. Goes far post to make it 3-2. This is kind of what Southampton wanted from him this year. He's a young guy, though. I think he'll thrive in the championship. I think that was Southampton's main problem with the whole rebuild and we kind of talked about it with Palace the year before, where it was like, it is risky. A lot of young guys, you never know.
Yeah.
If they're just not ready. I think Southampton had way too many guys that were more championship tier last year that are
Yeah.
18, 19.
Very green.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of championship thriving, I think Adam Armstrong is going to thrive. And he
Yes.
got subbed on, immediately scored. Beneficiary of
4-2,
another
baby.
poor giveaway, this time from Henderson. Nice finish.
Yeah, there was 3 Liverpool guys standing next to each other, and the ball was given away. And then they're all standing around like, oh, shit, we're right next to each other. Armstrong sprints past him. But then, a little great passing from Trent Alexander-Arnold and Liverpool in general, squaring it for Cody Gakpo make it 3-4, and then Jota with an absolute blast. Shouts for offside, but it does not matter. And we almost had final goal of the year belonging to Mo Salah on a dirty chip, but it hits the post. And Liverpool just somehow couldn't score to end the game, as they had numerous chances.
And speaking of games that sum up a season, I think this sums up Liverpool's season in the fact that they gave up these goals. Well, one, they went up 2-0 and then immediately
blew it, and then had to cut it back to 4-4 to salvage a draw against Southampton. It was very microcosm of their whole season. And
the fact that they gave away these just super cheap goals, and then like that third goal where they just had brilliant link-up play.
Yeah.
It's like, man, the highs are so high, but the lows are so low.
Yeah, I mean, we saw last year with their defense was very out of sorts. No one really talked about it. Everyone this year's like, oh, Van Dijk dropped off. It's like last year their team wasn't looking all that great. It was very much relying on Alisson, and he kept them in it. You can't always rely on, goalkeepers to be doing everything. So
imagine if Liverpool had like Bazunu. They'd be in like
100 goals
place.
conceded. First team to concede 100 and score like 80.
Yeah, their defense very suspect. Midfield also very suspect. I do like
McAllister.
I like
for 70.
I like the fact that they've just said like, okay, Trent Alexander-Arnold, you're now solely like a midfielder.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
No defensive responsibilities.
I like the getting McAllister. I think they do need a ball winner in that midfield now that Naby Keita, Liverpool legend's gone.
Who's gonna replace all 100 minutes?
I get Fabinho still there, but I don't trust him, and I don't think anyone should. No. Hence why I say they need a ball winner. But ball winner, maybe another center back. Who knows? I don't think they're far off for competing with Arsenal and
I would put Liverpool closer than United.
Yes, absolutely. Well, next week, are we doing the recap, the bottom half recap next week, and then the top half recap, and then you want to do the hankies?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do that. But let's, should we, is there anything you wanted to talk about? I was going to for sure talk about my 5 most interesting teams in the summer.
Let's just give a rundown, one final rundown of the table.
There you go.
Starting from the bottom, Southampton 20th, Leeds 19th, Leicester 18th, Everton.
It feels so odd to see Leicester go down.
It's just not right. Forest,
Southampton.
Bournemouth, West Ham, Wolves. Wolves in 13th feels a little...
It's weird.
Not right. Chelsea, Palace, Fulham, Brentford, Tottenham, Villa, Brighton, Liverpool, Newcastle, United in 3rd. Also, very fraudulent.
It just goes to show you. Yeah. It just goes to show you it's a wacky kind of year.
If you need proof that United is fraudulent, 3rd goal differential is plus 15. Arsenal above them was plus 45, and Newcastle below them was plus
35. Liverpool plus 28. Brighton was plus 19.
Yeah. Brentford was plus 12. So, they're into like 8th, 9th.
Wolves were minus 27, and West Ham were below them at minus 13. I felt like whenever West Ham did win, it was like 4-1, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, did you want to go over one or two?
Give me what you got.
I was just going to go over that because we briefly touched on it. We're not going to go too in-depth. We'll save it for next time. But just, what do you want to do, 5 teams? No, I'll do 3. 3 most intriguing teams.
Okay.
Going into the summer. I think my top 3 have to be Brighton, Chelsea. Yeah, Wolves might have to just miss out. Arsenal. I think Wolves will be 4th. And if you made me pick a 5th team, I would probably say West Ham.
Okay. I'll say number 1. I'm going to say I'm going to say Forest because
Okay,
I'm
you
curious
never
how they
know.
follow up their like 30 signings. Are they
It would
just
be
going to
so
keep signing
funny.
guys?
It would be so funny if they brought in like one guy.
I mean, it seems like you kind of have to at this point. Number 2, I would say Brentford.
Brentford, I like that.
Number 3, I'm going to say Tottenham just because Tottenham is like a clown show and who knows what they're doing.
I just feel like I know what they'll do. They'll maybe sign like one guy for like 40 or 50 mil. But other than that, well, they're going to bring back Ndombele apparently. He wants to resurrect his career at Tottenham after playing well at Napoli. How would you not just be like, sell me to anyone? I don't want to be here.
Yeah,
Instead,
why
he's
would
like,
you want to be on Tottenham?
he's like, let me resurrect my career. So they'll bring him back and be like, that's a signing. Just like when they brought in like Perisic last year. And they're like, that's a major signing. It's like, that's a free for a rotational piece.
Yeah.
That's not a major signing.
And if I had to go 2
Another
more,
one or
I would
two?
say Chelsea and then Wolves.
Okay. Before we let the audience go, who's your least interesting team?
My least interesting team.
Can't count City. Can't count City.
I would probably say Everton.
Oh, really?
I mean, they don't spend money anymore. So who are they going to bring in? They'll bring in one like
One team.
mid-table
One guy, yeah.
guy, and that's probably it.
If we're counting the new teams coming up, Burnley would be pretty interesting too. But of my least interesting teams, I think I might have Tottenham up there as least interesting. But I would probably have to take the cake. I think it will be Liverpool because I think their big money signing has been announced. Yeah,
pretty much.
So I don't know what else they have to do. Because I don't think they're going to spend that much money because Liverpool never spend that much money.
Exactly.
All right.
That does it.
Grade the season.
Grade this season. Probably like
A D. D plus.
D+, C-.
I give it D plus. 3-0.
I hate Manchester City. I'm sad
I love
that
Todd Bowley
Leicester,
though, baby.
Leicester
I know.
went down.
Leicester, Leeds, and Southampton going down is not ideal. Even though Leeds kind of pooped their pants and made
Leeds
not
and
like it.
Southampton,
That's because
as the
Southampton
kids
always.
say, bye, Felicia.
Yeah, well, they stole points off Arsenal.
I don't
That's why you
need to
hate
see
them.
freaking Lianco out here anymore.
Yeah, see, there you go. There's the
They'll
Arsenal.
probably go team up with Yerry Mina.
You know
at
why
Everton.
I'm sad to see Leicester leave? Chelsea always beat Leicester.
Yeah.
And then we stole their best guy in Conte.
It was great to see Chelsea flounder. The Todd Bowley experience was hilarious.
Yes.
Peak
I
comedy.
love him.
Peak comedy. Yeah.
Who couldn't love that man? That was the only thing keeping it from being an F, to be quite frank.
Yeah.
Him walking out of a restaurant.
The Todd Bowley
Or him
memes.
walking down the streets of London. What'd you think about the game? Shit fucking game.
Never change, Todd.
Never change. We'll never change. We'll be back. Bottom half of the table review, which will include Todd Bowley's Chelsea.
Good meal.
Adios. Mis amigos.
Thank you for tuning in all season long. We'll be back.
We
next
love
week.
you, John Morley.
John Morley. Special shout out, John Morley. He respects Hank.